up, y'all? I'm John Joffrey. This is Behind the Build, episode 14.
Follow along as we showcase all the progress we made across all of our projects last week.
Let's get right into the action over at the $1 Million Pool. Since our last pour, we have been some busy bees here at Revent Builds. This next pour is going to be the final pour for our foundation that the pool will sit on. So last time you saw us raise that retaining wall another 8 feet. We compacted all of the fill inside of there. So now from that level, which is about 20 feet tall, we came up another about 8 feet. So we're gonna be running up against about 28 to 30 feet tall on the retaining walls and fill dirt that we have. So this time we did things a little bit differently. If you saw before, we poured our walls, broke off all the forms, and then put the fill dirt in. This time around, since it's our last pour, we put up all of our forms, all of our rebar, and then we got all the fill dirt in before we break down the forms. Why? Because this pour is the last one. We're gonna pour those retaining walls with the grade beams and the final foundation. So the inner form on this last pour is going to stay inside of our foundation. We cleared all of this with our engineer. We feel that the structural integrity of having a solid pour on the last go around is paramount. So obviously, painstakingly, again, about 20 feet plus tall, we're loading in another couple 100 tons of fill dirt. We're compacting that every 8 inches. Those forms have been put up, the rebar is installed, we have all of our snap ties, everything's looking good and tight. But what's a little different this time is we aren't just pouring a straight wall. We have to pour the pedestal that's gonna make up the base of our catch basin. So we got with our welders, they made us these custom steel brackets that we had to screw in to all of our existing retaining walls, and those hang off the foundation. But now you can actually see what this looks like. I know conceptually it was a little difficult to understand, but now you see, here's our wall. We have our bracket like this. This is gonna be all concrete on the outside, which is just gonna make a pedestal for that catch basin to sit. And that catch basin is just a U-shaped channel that the water is gonna overflow from the pool, go down the tile wall into that catch basin. But looking at these steel brackets hanging off of our retaining wall over 20 feet in the air is just mind-blowing. This is absolutely insane. And then you have to think of all the weight that these brackets are gonna carry. They're literally cradling, which is gonna be tons and tons. We're talking about 20, 30 tons of concrete that's gonna be suspended in midair. This pour, if we have a spillage or if we have a break in one of those brackets, that would be monumentally horrible. That would really derail everything. We would have to stop the whole pour, clean everything up, shore it back up. It could be a disaster. So we are quadruple checking that all of this stuff is gonna be good. We had our engineers come out, and yet again, they are just in awe of what we're doing. To have such an established engineer tell us that the work that we're doing is impeccable, that he just cannot believe the scale that we're doing this on and the way that we're executing it. So now we are all passed. We have the green light to finish all of our prep to get the final pour. Now, what does that prep entail? We have to bring those brackets not only on one side, but also the front-facing side, because both of these corners are going to be negative edge. We have to pour in all of our fill dirt like last time, but now, to cap it off, after we fill that whole space up, just like a regular foundation, when you see us digging grade beams out of the earth, there's no earth to dig those grade beams out of. So what we do is we fill that select fill into sandbags, and then we place those sandbags to make up the pattern, that hash mark pattern for our grade beams. And then we're gonna form around that, and that is what's gonna make up our final foundation. In between all of that, we had to have our plumbers come out, run various pipes per plan for drainage. Everything is just about bagged up. We're finishing up the forms, we're finishing up the brackets around the outside, and then we're gonna pour all of those grade beams and the final cap on this slab, which is gonna be the foundation that the pool rests on. Next steps after that, we're full steam ahead in finally forming up the shell of our pool. And I cannot wait to see that come to life. Over to our kitchen and bath renovation. The kind of scale that we're doing things on, we have these monumentally huge projects, and then something like this seems a lot smaller. But in actuality, the detail work is still there. This project, seeing it come to life, it's phenomenal. Soll Solutions absolutely crushed it. These cabinets are impeccable. We have this awesome vent hood surround. Everything's paint grade, but then the bottom band on that vent hood surround is a natural white oak. We have beams in our ceiling that we had to put there for structural reasons, and we were like, oh man, this beam hits right in the vent hood. My idea with the clients, I said, you know what? If we can't hide it, let's accentuate it. Let's add another beam on the other side of the room. And honestly, it looks so cool. It looks like a feature now. Just looking at all these cabinets, appliances are installed, countertops went in, backsplash is nearly done. You know, you have a project that's 80% done. But once you get these final touches on it, the last 20% takes you leaps and bounds into another dimension. You can see that in our videos, in the time lapses that went down. We put a ton of work into this space. Our clients could not be happier. I cannot wait to get final photos and a final video walkthrough. Stay tuned for that in some episodes to come. A trip down memory lane, back to my first remodel edition project over $1 million. And what an amazing thing to be able to go back to a project that I did years ago and to put in an elevator for an elderly couple so they can age out the rest of their lives in this home. So over there, retrofitting this elevator is no easy task. We had to remove multiple different walls inside of the closet spaces inside these existing rooms. We have to get exact dimensions on exactly what this shaft is, and then we have to trade that off with the spaces that it's taking away. So it's taking away these closet spaces, but the utility of an elevator is way more important to our homeowner. We've just poured the pit, so that's the foundation at the bottom of the elevator that the elevator is going to sit on. And then framing has officially begun. And why this is important is because once framing is confirmed, that's when the elevator officially goes into production. And this unit is so cool. It's a freestanding unit, so it could be installed right here on this floor with no support walls around it. They're gonna get that elevator in, we're gonna run power to it, basically just do finishing touches of some doors and baseboard and paint, and then we're out of there. Once again, I'm back with some of my favorite people on the planet. Soll Solutions made another trip down to Montreal. We're here in their Texas headquarters, which is gonna be their new shop. And I am sitting on a Harley Davidson night rod, completely custom built, of course, all the way blacked out by none other than Sergio, the owner of Soll Solutions. He graced me very foolishly with the trust to ride his bike. And I'm glad I didn't do him a disservice. I have been riding bikes kind of my whole life, but I haven't been on one in a while. And honestly, this thing is a beast. It's a 1250cc. Look at these massive tires. That's a 330 on the back. For reference, a Porsche 911 has 325s. There's a 240 on a front. And why I bring up Porsche, this has a freaking Porsche engine. This thing was screaming. I was ripping it in the parking lot. We got to meet all the neighbors. Luckily, they came out, a bunch of other badass blue-collar people. There's machine shops. There's people building batteries. There's people building pump and irrigation systems, HVAC units. They all came out, said what's up. The other crazy thing is they came with a full 18-wheeler load of this insane machinery that you see behind me. We're gonna do some separate videos on all of these machines. We've been hinting at them, but I wanna show y'all how they're put together, how they are dialed in and programmed, and exactly how they're used, and why that makes Soll Solutions a complete game changer that we are forever gonna be partnered with. They're just too damn nice. As you can see, I have a new custom all the way blacked out Revent hat. They custom made my one bone shirts, the only shirts I wear with Revent logos. They give us Soll swag, they give us coffee mugs. It's like, guys, you're already doing so much for us. Stop giving a shit. I'm gonna have to find a way to get them back. But all in all, another amazing week here at Revent Builds. Everything is absolutely on fire. We have projects all over the city in varying ranges of complexity, in different price points, different clients. There is so much more to come. Thank y'all again for following us on the ride. I love each and every one of you. See you next week.